couple things have to change too, and I think there needs to be a little bit more of a look at the rating agencies, because I think people are looking at the rating information when they are assessing financial operations. So I think skill sets and sort of oversight of that function, I think there's something to be said about that going forward. The other one is accountability. Fundamental thing of accountability, because as we push ahead as a society, I'm not saying we go backwards, but somehow we need to have a mechanism in place too that calls people to task when things don't go as good as they've represented in their projections.
When we talk about risk assessment, what we're really talking about is understanding the business. So what is it the person does? What is it the system does all the way through? And you need to have more than just book smarts to do that, because you're engaging with real people. And so what you are trying to do is pull information out. You're trying to understand what the risks are and the strategies.
When it comes to how are we changing what we're doing in the audit committee, as Bonnie touched on, there's always the areas of top and emerging risks. You use the example of advertising and the special audits that come along. And for us, in a big financial institution with a global presence, big North American presence, it's sort of like we're always watching for what are the headlines out there, what's out there that we need to be thinking of, and what are those emerging risks, and building those into our plan. That's one bucket of how our mandate or our plan continues to change, is just factoring in the emerging risks. So, the hot topics that you hear about is clearly cyber is right up there in the technology topics. There's cyber, there's cloud. For us, there's all this disruptive technology between robotics and artificial intelligence, and how do we stay up with that from an audit perspective. One thing that we've been focusing on over the last few years is coming up with centers of excellence. So we've got 7 or 8 centers of excellence in the internal audit group. An example is we have a center of excellence for cyber. So we'll have a few people that really focus on cyber, and then making sure all of the audit teams sort of know what to do when they're out there doing the business segment audits to look at the cyber aspects. Access to data is so critical, and that's the way we all have to go from an auditing profession, either external or internal. The real challenge, big challenge these days, though, is getting access to that data, because I know at TD, when you see the Equifax situations and all of those breaches that are happening out there, where's the balance? Because we're getting even more ultra-sensitive about letting data leave TD, and so if you have the external auditors coming in wanting to do confirmations or something and getting access to our systems or pulling that data, and it's like, whoa, you can't do that, because if we have a security breach, then we're going to be in the headlines. So I think hopefully over the next few years we'll really get this sorted out so that we can get much more of that freedom to get that information, but get it appropriately with the right checks and balances.
The data side, totally agree. I mean, I think we use data analytics for a lot of our work. And what we're finding, though, is that the quality of the data, I mean, your decision making needs to be supported by information. But if you have garbage in and you get some kind of a report, it's kind of garbage out, so you can't really make the right decisions. So I think there needs to be some more thought and attention to the types of information organizations need, so that their systems, their IT systems, are working to provide them better decision making information.
But you can choose to be what I would say Netflix or Kodak, and you can learn to evolve and become better with what you have, or you can keep trying to plug the same product that you always have and become obsolete. We can do our job so much more effectively. Artificial intelligence, I get asked by students a lot, like, well, what about auditors? Will we still need people? And I think, of course, we will. And so we just have to do our job differently. You'll always need to engage with people. You'll always need to interact. And pull information and get down to sort of the heart of things. But maybe we can do it using, we have a tool where we can teach a program to read contracts, and it pulls all the data into a work paper. So now my team doesn't have to spend hours populating a worksheet with various things. They can spend their time on something more meaningful, analyzing what that means, talking to our clients about what's relevant in their business, how we can help them solve challenges. And so it becomes less about the administration of the audit and more getting to the heart of what's underlying the business and the risks, and really kind of moving into that. So I think just the adoption of technology, the understanding that it's very important, and then we have to move with the times is, you know, something that is sort of some of the challenges and limitations. We have a challenge ahead of us that people are not relying on the financial statements anymore. Companies are measured on historical information, and maybe in the 1930s, because the pace of change was slightly less, history was an excellent indicator of the future. That's no longer true, but yet we're auditing historical financial statements, and 3 months later we put it out, but people in business are, you've planned for 2018. So what does 2017 matter? It's in the rear view mirror, and we're driving forward, looking backward. And so we need to kind of find a way to evaluate what the metrics are that are indicators of future success, future performance, instead of being so rooted in what those historical GAAP financial statements say, because if not, then what is the value that the audit profession provides if nobody finds our work product valuable?